taught our children about the psychopathically racist way of Europeans, but we've taught them to aspire to success behaving like Europeans. So you're having this, our children are getting slapped and knocked down because they don't understand who they're dealing with. They think that racism doesn't exist. So they're approaching it like they don't exist. And then the European response is a European and they don't understand. They'll get into an encounter with a cop and think, oh, you know, I'm a U.S. citizen. And they don't understand. They're the target. They're the threat.
You know, everybody else knows who the enemies are. But, you know, we have this kind of thing that thou shalt not hold, whatever these scriptures are. But, you know, we really believe in that because we've had Baptist ministers since the days of the plantation, Methodist ministers. We've had ministers who've kept us in a prone position, kept us on our knees, but never did say that the Lord or Allah helps those who help themselves. So most of these people understand who their enemies are, but we do not understand that we're the most forgiving people. Don't you know if you ask the Catholics who their enemies are, they'll tell you. They don't have to do any research. It doesn't matter where they are. They can immediately tell you that at 2 a.m. in the morning. Ask the Jews who their enemies are. They'll call them for you. Ask the Palestinians. Ask the Chinese. Ask the President of the United States. He'll tell you. But we believe we have no enemies. We believe we have no enemies. Because if we believe we had something, it means we'd have to fight. And some of us are not willing to do that. If we believe that we had some enemies, then it means that we would have to stand for something. This is the kind of thing. But one of the major reasons that black folks refuse to recognize that they're enemies of our progress and enemies of our people is because we are too busy looking for approval. We're too busy looking for acceptance from these people. We're too busy wanting, and no matter what you do, you're never really going to, in a white supremacist society, for people who brought you over here, who deemed that you're inferior, you will never accept, you'll never receive their approval or acceptance, and that's why I don't know why you seek it. The only thing that we should have them doing is fearing us, not accepting or doing these type things. This is what it is. But some of us will say, if we act out, it will hurt our image. Oh, what will white folk think? See, the Japanese aren't looking for acceptance. They're looking for superiority. The Koreans are not looking for acceptance. They're looking for superiority. The Russians, none of these groups are looking for acceptance from these people except us. Because you can believe this. All of these groups that I've named, the minute they get their superiority, don't expect them to be sympathetic either. They'll treat you just like the Europeans did. So when you decide to call yourself third world and all mixed up in coalitions with these people, you better watch and guard carefully who you coalesce with.
Not toward our children.
Facts. The number one facts right there. And that's something that's plagued Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans all throughout your lives. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and the few sisters out there. Unto us like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which are your forefathers, you blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans from your father's side. All right? That's who you are. That's who you're going to be for the rest of your lives. Because at the end of the day, we're the only ones that tell you, which I give it up to the other camps as well. All one Westers, they tell you straight up who you are and what. Some get it right. What's the next step? Some, for a lot of them, for money purposes, they tell you a lie. For the most part, they'll let you know who you are. And part of knowing who you are is to know who your enemy is. Sorry, we have enemies. We have enemies from the very beginning of time. And nothing has changed. Our status may have gone down. All right. But like the what song? It was a Sizzler, right? Solid as a rock. And that's how you can't keep a good man down. So no matter how down you may be out, no power in your hand, trying to make a splash, trying to make a difference in society, you're always going to remain the same to your enemies. Has nothing but Negroes, niggas. All right, always gonna remain the same. Nothing's gonna change about it. Sorry, but it's reality. And these old heads was telling the truth. And this is something that the enemy fears because it's putting everything in proper perspective. Now, some may try to do it because of financial gain. They might tell you, "Oh, we gotta move out, build our own community, and all this other shit, and pay us this and that." But the real ones, they gonna tell you what it is, who it is, what it is, and that's that. It's up to you to take it. And the problem with majority of our people, they want to be down so bad on people that really hate their guts, hate their existence. That's why I always got to start when this subject comes about. You got to start with this because this is the mindset that Jake has, and it's called what? Stockholm syndrome. Jeremiah 2:11. It's really I started 11. Have a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which they doeth not profit. So we have our laws, statutes, and commandments. We have our history. All right. The world seeks what we have. The world, people want to be us. Shit. Even in our lowest form, they want to be us. Because what? We are the salt of the world. Okay? Be not astonished, O ye heavens. I say, be astonished, ye heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be very desolate, saith the Lord. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed out cisterns, which a cistern is a well. What's a well? Where you draw water from, right? And some wells, I believe I did this before. Let me look it up right here. It's gonna say cistern. No, it's not. This I gotta go to the other one. When you go into it, it could go all the way down to 5,000 feet, 6,000. So that's a deep well, plenty of water. All right. So our people went to something that was plenty to limit themselves. And it says broken cisterns that can hold no water. And why they can't hold no water? Because they have no true roots behind them. We have it. That was a benefit of us getting the law, statutes, and commandments. All right. That was a benefit. We was above everybody. And we still are. Even in our lowest form. We still above everybody. And it says, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? And that was a question, it's a rhetorical question. How can we be the princes of the power, sons of God, and be a servant? That makes no sense. That make no sense. Servants, not to the Lord, servants to the other nations. That make no sense. All right. So it was the duty of the heads. Which let me see if I can get it real quick. I'm getting off top. 1619. 16. Yeah, 1618. Well, no, really. Hold on. I was trying to jump. I gotta look it up. It was a duty of particular people to tell the people, right? What it is. Tell them your history. I believe it's in it. No, actually, it's the 25th chapter. Salakia. That was like 19. Yeah, Deuteronomy 32 and 7. I don't know why I can remember that. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he shall show thee, thine elders, and they will tell thee. So what did they do? They eliminated the wise men amongst the nations, mainly Israel. Okay? That's why the youth is they aimlessly. They just go to they just go to the enemies, period. For everything. Hold on for a second. Oh, okay. I know what's going on. Slacking. Technical difficulties. Slacking. I had technical difficulties. All right. I gotta make this too long. It says Job 8 and 8, I believe. It says, so for require I pray thee of the former age, and prepare thyself the search of their fathers. All right. So the search of your fathers is what? To search out those who know. If you don't know, you're destroyed. That's why we have a, a problem in the community, because people can't build themselves up because they need the acceptance. So the Lord has broken, Yahweh Shem Yahushua has broken that um the hold that they have over his people, and only the elect can understand it. This is at Jeremiah 3 and 6, no, 19, 15. It says, I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So the pastors that the Lord have brought up is whom? From the apostles on down. To teach the people what? Who they are. All right. Now let me get this one. Sirach 30. I said I want. He that loveth his son causeth often to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him at the end. And you take that disciplinarial out of a household, you have nothing but chaos. All right, you got nothing but chaos, and that's the product of it. When you have somebody that disciplined, well off, you create something great. He says, "He that chastises his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice. Sorry, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him." So that grieves the enemies of the nation. All right. That's that's why they eliminated the fathers out of the household. That's why the wise men are nothing but fools out there, teaching them the streets things of no value. They want to keep you in a dark state. While they at war with you, you have no idea. You don't have a clue what's going on. All right. You don't have the slightest clue. So they did a number on our people. It says, though his father died, yet he is as he were not dead. But he have left one behind him that is like himself. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. And he left him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. So that was their fear, and they lived it. But the Lord preserved who? The elect. All right, which technically is the armed forces of Yahweh Bashar Mishai. They are the greatest of the Lord. That's who the enemy always been targeting. Revelation 12 and 17. This whole chapter is back to give you a history of the Romans trying to figure out who was the Messiah. So they try to eliminate everybody, all the kids, because they knew that a male child will be born and he was gonna uproot the what? The status quo, which is a threat. So they went after Moses. Satan went after Moses and he went after Yahushua. And he's constantly coming after the rest of the elect. It says Revelation 12 and 17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman. Who the woman? Women represent Judah, Benjamin, Levite, Israelites at the time. All right. That's why I said Judah, Benjamin, Levite, because the dragon was Rome and went to make war with her remnant of her seed. So you fast forward it. So no longer is it um, Rome is America. And who's the remnant? A remnant is a small amount. So out of all the millions of Israelites here in America, the enemy is concerned about the small number that poses the greatest threat, because that was his promise. That shows you the Lord, he knows what he's doing. And that's right there shows the glory of the Lord. The Lord is not concerned about the masses. He's concerned about the small. How else he's gonna show his glory? The Lord woke up every Israelite today, simply could take over the whole country. All right, simply, but he's not concerned about that. He wants a small, and it says, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh. So that eliminates a large amount of people. Hey, the smaller the force, the greater the impact. Right? So yeah, we are at war. We always been at war. And the enemy's not gonna let up. Matter of fact, the enemy's gonna come harder. Same chapter, a couple of verses. It says 12, Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devils come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth ye have but a short time. So that wrath is coming. All right? That wrath is coming. And that's why what scripture says? Oh, Sirach. Look at that real quick. Sirach 2 and about 10 or 11. No, 10. It says, look at the generation of old. So if you don't know where you from, you don't look up nothing, you have nothing to stand on. How would you look at the generation of old? How would you look at great people? All you heard when you got on this side, it was the cowardness. You believed that nobody fought for theirs. You know, you thought you've been educated, or no, sorry, been programmed by your enemy. Think less of yourself. So the key thing to everything is what? To look at the old generation. It says, and see, did ever any trust in the Lord was confounded, or did any abide in his fear was and was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that call upon him? So if you don't know the scriptures, you don't know what the Lord is willing to do, able to do. All right? Who the Lord is really for. It says, for the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in the time of affliction. Because that's why you have to read the book. Everything that's written before our time was written for what? For our learning. And it shows you the Lord could put certain people in a certain predicament, and the same people in this hard to get out of predicament is gonna do what? The Lord gets them out of there. All right, without a shadow of a doubt. That's the miracles of the Lord. Take the impossible and make it possible. Right? The the thing of unheard of, or the thing that's never seen before, and make it possible. That's miracles. It says, woe to be the fearful hearts and the faint hands and the sinner that goeth two ways, which is what? 2/3 of the nation of Israel. This is why you have to read. This is why you have to know your history. This is why need to be taught. All right. The scripture says that you need to be taught again. Right? Because these people that go to these churches, they don't have they know the stories. They know the examples, but they don't even understand those are your forefathers that was in the wilderness. Your forefathers that did this and that. They don't even understand that. So when it comes down to it, all these Israelites know some sort of history, right? You know what proves it? They're the ones that be quoting scriptures. That's what proves it. They quote scriptures. Hey, they rap about certain scriptures. They may not understand it, but they quote it. They speak on it. So when the RFID microchip is pushed out there, we are in Jacob's trouble. When they got to do what they got to do, they're gonna be faint at heart. They're gonna try to take matters into their own hands and not trusting in the Lord. All right. It says, "Woe unto him that have faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he be not defended." And the scripture says about in Hebrews, the Lord can't stand an unbeliever, something to that extent. Like it's disgusting to the Lord. Like if you don't believe, then the Lord ain't gonna do nothing for you. And that non-belief is gonna what? Is gonna kill 2/3 of the nation of Israel. That's what's gonna get them killed. Because they don't believe in the Lord. They've been taught everything else but what the Lord told them to do. Because they didn't come in the spirit of the Lord. Ooh, let me get that real quick. Actually, we get that period. Isaiah 31 and 1. It says, woe unto them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and the horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord. So Egypt in this particular chapter is synonymous with what? America. You go down to anything and everything what America wants you to do. You want to be accepted. You want to be a part of it. All right. But when the Holy One, what the Lord teaches you, forsake this place. Right. There's life after America. This is not your rest. But what do Jake do? They don't want to hear it. Okay. They rather remain in this place. It says, yet he he also is wise and will bring evil, meaning bad times, and will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers and against the help of them that work iniquity, which is what? 2/3 of Israel. All right. They maintain the house of iniquity. You you can't sit there and say anything that Jake don't want to be a part of. Like Jake really want to be a part of this shit. All right. Jake is considering voting. Jake is upset with Esau. You know, Jake became MAGA. Jake associated himself with everything to maintain this man's power. Now the Egyptians are men and not God, and their horses are flesh and not spirit. When the Lord shall stretch out his hand upon stretch upon his when the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that hopeth shall fall down. They all shall fail together. So if you believe in this system, you will fall. You'll be destroyed. All right? And that's why you need wise men to show the youth, teach the youth the truth. You know? What do you who is it? Barrett Levy, teach the youth. Right? There was a premise back then when I was growing up. The older heads would try to teach the younger cats. And some of them listen, but then some of them, you know, but then they created a whole nother generation of that just don't want to listen. So they all gonna fall down like a domino, like a house of cards. This whole shit is about to fall down. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is for the elect. Those that fear him and those that know their history and believe in him, that's all the Lord is concerned about. So that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.